Do 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 do. Pew. What's happening? It's an evening edition of the Daily Truth. I got to tell you exactly what I'm doing right away because I'm going to need people that as you're jumping on to immediately help out. Worst case, I'm going to go ahead and use some quotes that I have in my till. But today, I'm going. If you are watching now, if you started watching, I need you to look up a quote, find a quote, give me your favorite quote. I am going to then take the quote and turn it into content. This is what we do on our Wednesday night Toastmasters on steroids free class, which I encourage you to join. But I want to give you a preview. I haven't done this in a while. Usually I have people do I've had people do this in the past and we jump out. It looks like we got a decent amount of people watching on X. Fantastic. So I need you guys to put in the comments a quote that is your favorite that you would like me to decipher. This is what we do. It shows how fast the brain moves. If you are interested in joining me on a Wednesday night speaking class I call it Toastmasters on steroids, I want you guys to register. It's free. Go to doubledownspeaking.com. This is one of the things we have everybody do, and it's mind-boggling how fast your brain can actually work. So do me a favor. I'm Anthony Michael Russo. This is the Daily Truth early evening edition, unless you're watching on Casey, you're so mean to me lately. Unless you're watching on OBBM and then it's a week later and it's not live, but it is a morning show on there. But anyways, let's get to it. Casey, that is not a quote. But he always makes fun of me because I like RFK. So it is what it is. Can't please them all. And I do love you, Casey. Casey knows. I was actually thinking about doing today is about why I'm so happy that I don't talk about politics anymore, because both sides lost their mind. That's my little preview. Anyways, join me at doubledownspeaking.com. Go to my Instagram at Anthony Michael Russo. Go to at Anthony Michael Russo. And Casey, can you just do me a favor and give me a quote? Go to at Anthony Michael Russo. You'll see all the gear on there. Nothing is impossible. You know what's not impossible is taking a quote and rendering content from it. Both sides never had their mind. What's amazing about how you could just take a quote and have a little fun with it. Nothing is impossible. It's not impossible to do that. So that's what I'm going to do today. Today's just kind of off the cuff, a little bit of fun, how fast we could actually use the human brain. Also want to talk about Make Wellness Peptides, which you'll see on my Instagram. Please, if you have any questions, let me know. I've had a great 5 months on it. This is the best my body has felt in a very long time. And I'm a huge proponent of the products. I started taking the products, then I started promoting the products, and I started selling the products. And this month I'll make almost $1,000 off of them. So, I would give them a shot. And if you want to sell them, there's also a link on there as well. I need a comment. I need a comment with, hold on, let's see what Casey says. Public speaking is a lot like skydiving. Everyone tells you perfectly safe, but you're still terrified. Parachute won't open. You end up in a viral video of somebody forgetting all their words midair. Hey, fear is just an element of life. Those that are truly cowards are the ones that are not willing to fail. So that's my belief system. Grant, is that a quote? Do you want me to turn that into a quote, Casey? And that's what we do again in the class. We take 30 seconds to a minute and we take a quote and we regurgitate it based on what it means to us. Is that the quote? Do you want me to, I mean, it's not really a quote, but I can turn it into one. But if anybody's got a quote, please put it in there. I don't want to have to use my own quotes that I can pull from the internet. I want to find yours, show that I have no idea what quote is coming out or what I'm looking at or whatever it is, and show how fast the human brain can think. I will wait. Today is a different one. I'll wait on here. This coffee is cold. It's been at my desk all day and I'm still, that's terrible. Still drinking it. Anybody? Casey, give me a quote. You're here. There's 42 people watching. Somebody's got to be able to put in their favorite quote and I will do something with it. Am I have to go to my till of quotes here? Oh, let's see what I got. Let's see. I'm going to look one more time. Okay, there you go. All right, it's political quote, but I'll still do it. So Casey gives the quote. I'm just going straight into reading it and then saying what I think it means to me. Governments, this is a quote by Thomas Jefferson that says, governments constantly choose between telling lies and fighting wars, with the end result always being the same. One will always lead to each other. Now, this isn't a self-help or a motivational or what you're going through life in quote. However, much of us are dealing with something that, although this is during the formation of America, this is 200 years ago, plus 250 years ago, this is still incredibly valid today. This is a timeless statement in regards to the way that government, specifically our government, works. The way we look at things in our current situation, and it's not the constituents, it's the actual politicians and their helpers, which is the media. It is looking at the fact that the politicians will consistently tell lies that will lead to fighting wars. Because at the end of the day, still at this point, the military industrial complex, whether it's Republican or Democrat, is the biggest problem, is the biggest issue. Along with some other things, one of the biggest issues. And the end result always ends the same. The order may be different. Sometimes there's a war that leads to lies, and sometimes there's lies that lead to a war, but they will always lead to each other. And this is something that for 250 years has been accurate and never more true than it is today. Always end the sentence on the upswing with a period, with a solid statement like I just did. That's taking a quote. Or do we have one that's not political from anybody? Casey, why? There's 54 people watching. Somebody could put a statement, a comment, a quote here. I'll find a random one from last week's class that we did not use. All right. Here's a good one. Oh, here's another good one. I like this one. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the comments and you can see it. Since nobody, all 60 of you, if you're just entering right now, I'm going to take quotes for a couple minutes. I'm going to take the quote you put in, which is what we do on our Double Down Speaking workshop, the free workshop, free class every Wednesday night. It's the Toastmasters on steroids. This is what we do. So here I got the quote. This is, I don't know who said it. The quote is, "You are the result of every time," put it up on the screen. "You are the result of every time you refuse to give up." I was kind of stating this earlier in the beginning of this video, kind of the idea that we are constantly being molded. But in life, we are going to be constantly challenged to actually give up or to push forward. The way of the buffalo, the going directly into the storm. And what forms our character, what forms who we are, what forms our legacy for our children and our children's children based off of the discipline and routine that we instill as people, that we use in our own lives and pass on to the next generations, is the fact that we are molded off of every failure. We are molded off of every time that we refuse to give in and give up. In my own life, I have been faced with so much failure. I've done so many things wrong. I've had so many mistakes that I can't even tell you all the depths of, but I can tell you who I am in this moment, 42 years old at 7:26 Central Time on April 29th, is all a result of all the times I refuse to give up. My current status in the Double Down Speaking class, with the people that are working with me, for me, around me, and the group that is choosing to actually take their hard-earned dollars and put them and invest them in themselves to be a part of this class, is a result of all the times I didn't give up. And what's interesting is there was a period probably about 2 months ago, where I remember I didn't want to do a Wednesday night seminar. I called something off. I called like a daytime. I was just exhausted. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm spinning my wheels for a year, but I refused to give up. And I'm seeing the actual fruits of that labor and the impact that I'm having, not just from a monetary perspective, but from people telling me what kind of impact I have on them. I am a result of every time I refuse to give up. That's a quote. All right, Emily. You're sitting right next to him. Thank you for giving me a good non-political quote. I do love that you made your ex image very similar to Casey's. Not hard to see who that is, but that was good. All right, you ready? Emily said, "Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated." In my own life, and that's one of the things, by the way, that we like to have people do during the class is if they can take the quote, I try to make them very specific to the person once I find out what they do. Take the quote and make it unique to them. So try to use yourself, see yourself in the quote, not just break off a piece of motivation. But let's see, life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. Every day in our lives, our brain is constantly thinking. To be honest, there's some people maybe not, and I'm a little bit jealous of them because in many ways they're able to simplify life with a simple idea of just not thinking too hard, just letting life come to them. How much joy, how much joy would that create in your life if you found a way to take the complicated and make it simple? I'm going to completely change the I guess setting of this quote and make you realize that it can be about everything that we do in life. This is a very specific entrepreneurial quote and spin that I will give this to you. Is that if your business is not working, say that you own a small business, you're running a small business, whatever it is, the bulk of the time when things are not working out, it's because you are complicating it. So when you're making things overcomplicated, the purchaser, the buyer, the potential consumer is very confused and they don't know how to become a part of your fold, a part of your company, part of your product, part of your team. They don't know how. So the quicker you learn how to simplify it, the faster your business will start to do better. The faster your small business, your restaurant, whatever it is, simplify the ease of use. So I'm going to bring this full circle back to life. If that's how it works in business, why wouldn't the same not be for your own life? We insist on complicating things with the way we look at our relationships, the way we even look at our relationship with God, all the way to the way that we show up at work. But what if we simplified everything? Find the path of least resistance. This has been a complete change in my life in the last 5 months. And as much as Casey in the comments does not want to hear this, part of the complication that I was having with all aspects of my life, my chakras per se, was the fact that I was probably a little bit too deep in politics, but I enjoyed the time. There's no regrets in that time, but understanding that simplifying things to the path of that I was most driven in and the path of least resistance has been the single biggest change in creating a more simple life. A life full of more joy and a life full of even more success from it. And ultimately, success is nothing without fulfillment. With more fulfillment, that's the key. All right, that's another quote. I'm going to do one more. We have 81 people watching. Granted, most of them are on X, and most people don't know how to make comments on X. Is this a quote? Casey, too many hours of getting out of too much practice love. Too many docs are. Let's see what George Bush quote. Can somebody put another quote besides Casey? Emily, can you tie his hands together for goodness sakes? Too many good docs are getting out of the business. Too many OBGYNs are able to practice their love. George W. Bush had a quote that said, too many good docs are getting out of the business. Too many OBGYNs aren't able to practice their love with women all across the country. This actually goes back to what Casey said earlier, why people have such a fear of public speaking. This was once the president of the United States of America. And Casey used a quote earlier where he said this, everyone tells you it's perfectly safe, but you're terrified, like skydiving. You're terrified the parachute won't open. You'll end up in a viral video, someone forgetting all their words mid-air. This is the exact situation. Public speaking has that same fear as skydiving, because you can even have a president of the United States of America that says word vomit, much like this, much like we heard Joe Biden say, and much like we hear Trump say as well. So you know what? If you can make word gaffes on national TV and still be the president of the United States of America, what's stopping you from embarrassing yourself while speaking? See, that's how you bring two quotes together. All right, last one, since Emily is the only person participating out of all 86 of you watching, and this is it. This is way longer than it was supposed to be. Did you like that, Casey? I thought I did pretty good on that one. I thought that was pretty good. All right, last one. Challenges are gifts that force us to search for a new center of gravity. Don't fight them, just find a new way to stand. Challenges are the gifts that force us to search for a new center of gravity. This is interesting. And this is directly tied to my life. And I'm going to take politics, the conversation on politics earlier. Casey, you can get your sticker. You get your sticker, buddy. You get the American flag sticker. Okay. I'm relating this to something earlier, non-political, but challenges are gifts that force us to search for a new center of gravity. Since the beginning of COVID, I was working on a book called The Art of Doubling Down, and it was all based on my story with the idea of overcoming failure based on how my father gambled when he played blackjack, and his MS mixed with a gambling addiction, mixed with all these things. I found a strategy in life on how to overcome failure based on the way that he would gamble, called negative progression. And I looked at this and I spent 4 years, 3.5 years pouring into this idea and pouring into the concept of being a performance coach and a life coach that talks about overcoming failure by doubling down on everything in your life. And the more you double down and you keep digging and you learn from your lessons and you dig and you dig and you dig and you embrace failure, the better your life is going to be. Now, do I still feel that way? 100%. But it wasn't working fully. Something felt inauthentic to the way that I was dealing with people, way that I was speaking on stages. Something wasn't resonating. And then all of a sudden, faced with a challenge based on a success, I made the semifinals of the Great American Speak Off, where I met a bunch of great people just in a speaking contest. And then I started realizing when we would do our small groups, I was helping coach that group. It was a challenge to me, but it was also fun. The challenge was the fact that I had to realize, do I pull this stool out from under myself where I've been basing all of my work for 4 years on, and start something completely different and realize that I was a speaking coach, a storytelling coach, and have people embrace their story? I realized that this was God's purpose for me. I can still speak. I can still speak on overcoming failure, but I realized that truly I could no longer fight the fact that God's gift to me was the fact that I can help people become better speakers, creating a ripple effect in them sharing their stories, them affecting the world, them making the world a better place based on my willingness to make them more effective at telling their story. Likewise, being able to share why storytelling was so important to me and using your voice and being confident. That was the challenge I was faced with, was letting go of what I'd worked very hard on and not fighting it, and realize I found a new way to stand. And a year later, completely different perspective on life and on my life. Bam. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. That's all I got for you guys. I wanted to show what we do a little bit on Wednesday nights. We do have a few openings left. I think we're at about 7 or 8 now for this week. Let me see how many people are registered for tomorrow night. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7. Got room for about 5 or 6 more. We'd love to have some new people. I think we've only got 2 or 3 new people in this class. Would love to see you there. It's free. And then you get a free call with me if you choose to take it, which I strongly suggest. We have some great calls and breakthrough. I'll call it a breakthrough call. Maybe I'll call it a breakthrough call. I don't know. Come to that class. Learn a little bit more. It's interactive. Keep your cameras on. We'll have a little bit of fun. And lastly, if you are interested in taking the full 8-week course where we come up with a 5-minute signature talk, and it's more transformative, it allows you to overcome some of the fears you had that your story was inadequate or you're inadequate or limiting beliefs, all that stuff. We do have 2, maybe 3 spots left open in the upcoming Tuesday class that starts next week. So if you want to get on that, each series, the price does go up just because we're still at the early pricing. So if you're interested, hit me up, let me know. I would love to have a couple more people in that class. And I do payment plans as well. That's all I got. Hit me up with the message. Check out my Instagram. Best way to DM me or ask me any questions, go to @AnthonyMichaelRusso. Find me there. God bless, guys. Have a great rest of your day. That's how you do some quotes. 20 minutes. This is as long as the daily truth gets. Got a decent amount of people watching where we're at. We're at 91 right now, a lot on X. Thanks, Casey, for sharing. Emily, thank you for actually providing good quotes. Casey, you still get your sticker. God bless, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Don't surrender your pets. Check out the gear. It's 20% off if you use Truth. And again, go to the Instagram. You'll see the links in the bio. And then 10% off Century H2O by using Russo10. Get your Make Wellness Bio Precision Peptides. Kick the tires, light the fires. God bless. Don't surrender your pets. Don't be a garbage human being.